you ever walked into a room, Leo, and the energy shifted before you even spoke a word? Not because you were loud, not because you made a scene, but because something about your presence demanded attention. People paused, some stared, others whispered behind their hands, and you just stood there wondering if they sensed what you've never been able to explain. No, I'm not talking about your charisma that everyone sees. I'm talking about the thing they can't describe, the feeling, the frequency, that subtle yet undeniable vibration you carry. The one that makes some people instantly gravitate toward you and others recoil without knowing why. You've felt this your whole life, haven't you? You've been told you're too intense, too much, or that people just can't figure you out. But let me tell you something most won't dare to say. Your aura is strange, deeply strange, and everyone feels it. It's not strange in a broken way. It's strange in the way a black hole is strange, powerful, unexplainable, magnetic, and impossible to ignore. It's strange like lightning in a clear sky, like the echo of a memory you've never lived. It's not just different, it's ancient. And that's exactly why you've never been able to blend in. Because Leo, you were never meant to. But what if I told you this strangeness, this electric, eerie, beautiful energy isn't random? What if I told you it's not something wrong with you, but rather something rare and deeply cosmic that's been woven into your very soul? And what if I told you that there are 7 unmistakable signs that confirm what you've always suspected? That your aura is not like the others, not softer, not weaker, but charged. Because here's the truth most people can't handle. You carry a field of energy that reveals people to themselves. You're not just being seen, you're reflecting. And what you reflect can shake someone's entire illusion of who they are. That's why they react so strongly. That's why some love you too fast, while others hate you too soon. That's why the room gets quieter when you walk in, and heavier when you're sad, and radiant when you're joyful. So today I'm not here to flatter you. I'm here to confirm what your soul already knows. You're wired differently. And that difference is written not in your personality, but in your aura. And before we begin, I need you to know something else. These 7 signs we're about to explore, they're not checklists, they're reflections. Echoes of experiences you've carried for years. They may shake something loose in you. They may feel like confessions you've never said out loud. Because deep down, you've always known. You've always felt this, even if you didn't have words for it. But here's the real reason you need to stay until the end. Because this video isn't about showing you what's strange. It's about helping you understand the purpose of it, why it matters, why it hurts, and why it's time to stop hiding it. By the time we finish, you will no longer wonder, why do I feel so different? You will understand that your aura was never meant to be soft or quiet or ordinary. It was meant to disrupt, to awaken, to catalyze, to transform the people around you even when you didn't mean to. But be warned, this isn't a comfortable journey, because we're going to talk about the moments you've never dared share, the sensations you've written off, the dreams you've tried to forget, the longing you've never been able to name. So take a breath, Leo. And if your heart is already pounding, that's not fear, that's recognition. You're not broken. You're not cursed. You're not too much. You're just wired to carry a kind of energy this world doesn't fully understand yet. But after today, you will. Comment if you've ever felt like your presence changed a room even in silence. Because the first sign is something you've noticed your entire life, but never knew how to name. Let's talk about the moment you realized. You don't just feel energy, you magnify it. Sign 1. Your aura doesn't just receive energy, it magnifies it. Have you ever noticed, Leo, that people's emotions get It's like their energy hits you and then comes back at them even stronger. A friend walks in angry, and by the time they finish talking to you, their anger is volcanic. Someone opens up with love, and they walk away feeling seen, held completely alive. It's not just empathy. It's not emotional intelligence. It's something deeper, something energetic. Because Leo, you don't just absorb energy. You reflect it back, amplified, as if your aura were a massive solar mirror. But here's what no one tells you. Most people's energy fields are passive. Yours is active. They receive. You respond. You don't realize it. But your very presence is like a tuning fork in the room. When people are near you, whatever they carry, joy, fear, love, shame, it gets activated. And then they see it in your eyes, or they feel it in the air between you. Or worse, they feel exposed even if you said nothing at all. That's why people call you intense, not because of what you say, but because they feel something inside themselves reacting and they blame you for it. You, the mirror effect of Leo. Let's go deeper. In traditional astrology, Leo is ruled by the sun, the radiant center of the solar system. The sun doesn't chase. It shines. It illuminates, sometimes blindingly so. Leo energy, when evolved, reflects that same solar principle. You don't just light people up, you reveal them. And what you reveal isn't always what they want to see. Ever wonder why certain people lash out at you without provocation? Why someone you barely know suddenly unloads their emotional baggage on you? Or why in a group eyes just gravitate toward you even if you're not trying to stand out? It's not ego. It's not attention seeking. It's that your aura, alive, bright, reactive, is constantly amplifying what's around it. A story you might recognize. There was once a Leo woman I met during a retreat in Sedona. She was quiet, gentle, barely said a word during group sessions. But after every circle, someone cried in her presence. Someone confessed something deep. Someone got angry out of nowhere. It became a pattern. By the third day, she broke down. She said, "I don't do anything, but everyone either tells me their trauma or explodes on me." I told her what I'm telling you now. You don't have to do anything, Leo. Your aura is doing the heavy lifting. It's reflecting people back to themselves. And for many, that's terrifying. The cost of being a catalyst. Let's not romanticize this. This gift isn't always easy. You've probably lost friends who couldn't handle your energy, been accused of being too much, too sensitive, or too triggering. Been the one people love loudly but also leave suddenly. Because here's the truth. You are a catalyst. Not by choice, by nature. Your energy magnifies what's dormant in others, and they either awaken or run. That's not your fault, but it is your responsibility to understand what you carry. Life lesson from sign 1. You don't need to shrink yourself to make others comfortable, but you do need to become conscious of your energetic impact. Because if your aura is a mirror, then your silence can be louder than someone else's scream. Your presence can be more revealing than someone else's confession. Use it with awareness. Use it with compassion, but never ever apologize for it. Your ability to reflect and magnify energy is not a burden. It's how you help people see themselves clearly, even if they don't thank you for it. Comment if you've ever been called too much for simply being present, or if people react strongly to you without explanation. Now let me ask you something even stranger, Leo. Have you ever remembered a place you've never been? Not just a dream, but full memories, with colors, smells, emotions, because the next sign will shake the edges of your reality. It's time to explore the second powerful sign of your strange aura. Memories of lives you've never lived but still carry. Sign 2. You have vivid memories of places you've never been. Have you ever described a place with perfect clarity? the layout of the room, the texture of the walls, the way the light hit the windows, and then realized you've never actually been there. You weren't dreaming. You weren't making it up. You knew it, in your bones, as if the memory was stored not in your mind, but in your soul. Leo, this is not déjà vu. This is something deeper. This is the echo of a life your current self never lived, but your aura still remembers. Most people explain it away. They say it must have been a dream, or a scene from a movie, or a trick of the imagination. But you know better. Because when it happens to you, it's not fuzzy. It's visceral. You don't just see these places, you feel them. What makes it so strange? You remember the emotions connected to these places. You know what it felt like to walk down that stone hallway barefoot. You can still smell the air of a rainy forest you've never visited. You can hear the echoes of conversations in a language you don't consciously speak, but somehow understand. These aren't dreams, they're soul memories. And Leo, your aura is one of the rare ones that still carries these records. The astrological insight. In astrology, Leo governs the heart not just biologically, but energetically. It's the seat of courage, truth, memory, and creative legacy. A Leo soul is not linear. You've been here before, not necessarily as you, but as consciousness. And when your aura is as active and strange as yours is, it doesn't forget what your current mind tries to erase. While others are bound by the present, your field is like a cosmic archive, picking up fragments, symbols, and emotions that slip through the cracks of time. You don't have a good explanation. You just know. And when you try to tell someone, you either downplay it or stop halfway because they look at you like you've lost your grip. But you haven't. You've remembered too much, not too little. A story that might feel familiar. There was a Leo man I met at a gathering in New Mexico. During a conversation about travel, he described in eerie detail the architecture of an old temple in a remote Himalayan village. He had never left the United States. He had no photographs, no books, no online references. Yet he spoke of the texture of the stone, the temperature of the prayer room, and a carved symbol above a door that made his hands tremble just describing it. 2 weeks later, a guest at the same gathering showed a photo from a trip to Nepal. It was the exact temple. The door, the symbol. When we showed him the image, he cried. He said, "I've never been there, but I know that door. I've prayed behind it." And maybe you, Leo, have felt something similar. Why it happens to you. Your aura is porous in a way most people's aren't. It doesn't just absorb this life's experiences. It pulls in imprints from the timeless field of memory from before birth, and sometimes from timelines not even connected to this earth. That's why you often feel displaced in your current life, unimpressed by earthly experiences, haunted by a sense that some part of you is missing. It's not because you're broken. It's because you are multidimensional. And the human experience often feels too small to contain what your aura knows. You were never just a tourist here. Leo, your presence on this planet is not new. You're not here for the first time, and deep down you've always known this. That longing you carry, that ache that comes late at night when everything's quiet, that's not sadness. It's soul memory. It's the feeling of remembering a home you can't name, a place your heart recognizes but your mind has no map for. That's why you keep seeking. Why you're drawn to certain symbols, cultures, landscapes, and colors without knowing why. Because somewhere long ago or far ahead, your soul was there. And your aura still carries the fingerprint of that timeline. Life lesson from sign 2. Don't dismiss your memories just because they don't make logical sense. The mind is limited, but the soul, the aura, is timeless. You're not hallucinating, you're remembering. And those memories, they're not distractions, they're invitations to go deeper, to trust the invisible, to follow the thread that leads you back to your truest self. Because sometimes, the most important truths are the ones you remember, not the ones you learn. Comment if you've ever felt like you knew a place before you ever stepped foot there. And now let's talk about something even more primal, more instinctual. Because while adults might ignore your aura, animals and children never do. In the next sign, we'll explore how your energy triggers something ancient in the purest beings around us. Sign 3. Animals and children react abnormally to you. There's something ancient about you, Leo. Something beyond your appearance, your mannerisms, or even your words. It's in your energy. And the ones who sense it first, without logic, without filters, are the purest beings among us animals and children. Have you ever noticed a dog you've never met growling at you intensely, then suddenly sitting in total silence staring? A baby staring into your eyes for minutes unblinking as if trying to read something in you. A cat approaching you with caution then curling up in your lap like it's known you for lifetimes. Or a child that suddenly starts crying when you walk into a room for no reason anyone can explain. It's not coincidence. It's not random. It's recognition. Animals don't lie. Unlike humans, animals don't rationalize what they feel. They don't suppress their instincts. They react to energy immediately, honestly, and without hesitation. And your aura, Leo, doesn't give them normal. It gives them cosmic memory. It gives them presence. It gives them something they can't categorize, something they haven't sensed in most humans. That's why they either feel irresistibly drawn to you or completely overwhelmed by you. A real encounter. There was a Leo man I once interviewed for aura research in Oregon. He said every time he walked into his neighbor's house, the 2 German shepherds would lose it, not with aggression, but with this mix of excitement and alertness. He described it as, "They stare at me like I'm an alpha from another life, not just dominant familiar, as if they remember something I don't." That's exactly what happens. Your aura activates cellular memory even in animals, especially in animals. It's not about how you act, it's what you emit. Your energy field carries frequencies most people never access in their lifetime. But animals, especially dogs, cats, horses, birds, they pick up on it instantly. Why children react the same way? Now let's talk about children. Not teenagers, not conditioned adults. Children, especially from infancy to about age 7, still live halfway between the seen and the unseen. Their perception is still energetic, still open, still sensitive. When they see you, Leo, they don't just see an adult. They sense a vibration that doesn't quite belong here. Some smile, like they've known you forever. Others become shy or nervous, or even cry, not because you're scary, but because your aura awakens something buried inside them. What they really feel. Here's what most won't tell you. Your aura activates memory, not just in you, but in others. And children in their purity can feel that activation happening. To some, that feels like comfort. To others, it feels like pressure, a pull they're not old enough to understand. So when a child stares at you silently for long stretches, they're not being rude. They're feeling you. When a toddler hides behind their parent as you approach, they're not afraid of you. They're overwhelmed by the depth of your field. It's like standing in sunlight after spending days underground. Too bright, too intense, but undeniably alive. Astrological insight. Leo ruled by the sun is the natural center of attention, but not always by choice. Children and animals respond to your aura because it radiates life force. You don't need to be loud. Your aura already pulses with heat light and a strange kind of emotional gravity. That gravity pulls at souls, especially unguarded ones. So while others try to define your energy as strong personality or natural leader, children and animals know you're carrying something far older than your age, and they respond accordingly. Life lesson from sign 3. When people tell you they don't trust your energy, but dogs follow you, and babies calm in your arms, and wild creatures pause in your presence. Believe the animals. Believe the children. They see the truth. Your aura isn't too much, it's simply uncensored, and that uncensored light reveals your origin. Leo, you carry a kind of wild, ancient magic, not to be tamed, but to be respected and used with care, because the ones who haven't forgotten how to feel, they already recognize you. Comment if animals or young children have always reacted strangely to you even when you stayed completely still. And now, Leo, let's talk about the moments when you're alone, and suddenly the air feels different. The veil between realities thins, and you feel something shift. The next sign is the one you never talk about because it's hard to explain, even to yourself. But it's real, and it's powerful. Let's explore Sign 4, the spontaneous expansion of your consciousness. Sign 4. You experience sudden expansions of consciousness without trying. Leo, have you ever had a moment that made no logical sense, but changed everything? You're walking, or sitting quietly, not meditating, not praying, not doing anything spiritual. And suddenly, the air around you thickens. Your awareness expands, and it's like you're looking at the world through a second layer of vision. Colors feel sharper, time slows. You feel outside your body but deeply inside yourself at the same time. These are not hallucinations. They're not stress responses. They are untriggered, spontaneous expansions of consciousness, and they happen to you more often than you admit. Because your aura is tuned to a frequency most people can't detect, let alone hold. What it feels like and why it matters. Sometimes it's subtle. A rush of insight that comes with no context but feels absolutely true. Other times, it's overwhelming. You see something in someone's face and suddenly understand their pain. You know something's about to happen before it does. You feel the energy of a place like it's speaking to you. No drugs, no rituals, just an opening. And afterwards, it's hard to explain. Because what you experienced wasn't out there. It was already inside you, just hidden beneath the noise. The Leo Gateway. Here's the strange truth. Leo rules the 5th house in astrology, the house of creation, play, and personal expression. But in its deepest layers, this house is also the seat of the inner child and the divine artist, the one who channels energy from unseen realms into form. This means your Leo aura is like a two-way portal. It broadcasts powerful energy, and it also receives bursts of cosmic information. That's why you sometimes just know things. Why you feel a presence in an empty room. Why you say something and later realize it wasn't your thought at all. It came through you. This is a Leo trait very few talk about, because it requires a certain level of surrender. And you, Leo, are used to leading, not channeling. But in those moments when your control drops, something greater rushes in. A true story from a Leo in silence. One Leo man once shared this story with me. He was camping alone in the desert. No phone, no people, no distractions, just stars and wind. One night while watching the moon rise over a canyon, he suddenly felt like his skin disappeared. He wasn't cold. He wasn't afraid. He said, "I could feel the thoughts of the canyon. I wasn't me, I was it." He wept for hours, not out of sadness, but because in that moment he knew something he could never explain, that the world was alive and so was he, not just as a man, but as part of everything. These moments are not rare for Leo. They are simply unspoken, because Leo is associated with fire leadership courage, but rarely with mystical insight. And yet, here you are, living proof that Leo is spirit in flame form, what others might misunderstand. When you talk about these experiences, people might roll their eyes, call you dramatic, say you have too much imagination, but that's because they've never felt what you feel. They've never stood in the same room as a loved one and felt time pause. They've never touched a leaf and heard its quiet life whisper to them. They've never had the sensation of their thoughts stopping completely, while their awareness expands infinitely. But you have. And Leo, these are not accidents. They are evidence that your aura is alive, awake, and interdimensional. Life lesson from sign 4. Don't ignore the moments that don't make sense. Those are the realest parts of your life. When your mind goes quiet and your heart opens. When you stop trying to understand and just feel. That's when the universe speaks. Your aura didn't come here to fit inside a box. It came to break open perception. To remind you and others that life is more than form, schedule, and logic. Leo, you were born to blaze. But you were also born to channel. To translate the invisible into something we can feel. And every time you do, even silently, you raise the vibration of everyone around you. Comment if you've ever experienced something you couldn't explain but knew was completely real. Now let's get more physical. Because while these spiritual expansions are subtle and mysterious, there's one sign of your strange aura that's downright inconvenient. It's not mystical, it's not poetic, it's frustrating, especially when your emotions run high. Let's talk about how your aura disrupts technology and why that might be the strongest proof yet that your energy is more powerful than you've ever realized. Sign 5. You cause electronic equipment to malfunction. Leo, you've likely laughed it off. Called yourself technologically cursed. Said I must have bad luck with devices. But the truth goes much deeper. This isn't about bad Wi-Fi. This isn't Mercury in retrograde. This is about you. Your presence, your aura, literally interferes with technology. And if you've never said this out loud, it's probably because you've learned people won't believe you. Or worse, they'll mock you. But let's lay it out. Lights flicker when you enter a room. Your phone randomly dies at 40% when you're emotionally charged. Your laptop crashes during moments of deep concentration. Devices freeze, glitch, or behave erratically when you're overwhelmed. And it's not just once. It's a pattern. A frustrating, repeating pattern that no technician can explain. What's actually happening? Your aura isn't just emotional, it's electromagnetic. Just like electrical circuits, your energy field runs on frequency. And when your emotional frequency spikes joy, anger, grief, passion, that internal current surges outward. In most people, that's a ripple. In you, Leo, it's a pulse. And technology. It doesn't stand a chance, because modern devices are designed for stability. Predictable waves, controlled input, clean signals. But your aura doesn't move in straight lines. It burns, it expands, it erupts. And that intensity causes static, the kind of energetic interference that shorts circuits, disrupts batteries, and even blows out bulbs. It's not a coincidence. Let me be clear. You're not imagining it. You're not exaggerating. You're experiencing a known phenomenon often called SLI, streetlight interference, or electromagnetic aura discharge. But most people who talk about this aren't Leo. They might trigger it occasionally. You carry it daily. Because your field is more than energy. It's active power. And when you're emotionally heightened, angry, passionate, deeply joyful, that power leaks into everything around you. A first-hand example. A Leo client once told me, I got into a heated argument with my partner. Right in the middle of yelling, the lights blew out. All of them. The breaker wasn't tripped. Nothing was wrong. But the entire house went dark. She laughed when she said it, but I didn't, because that's not a glitch. That's an energetic overload. That's your aura discharging a surge so intense, it rewrites the field around you. And this doesn't just happen during conflict. Another Leo man shared how his car's dashboard would light up like a Christmas tree every time he got emotional, excited, angry, even romantically thrilled. It's not paranormal. It's you emitting a frequency high enough to affect matter. Astrological connection. Let's bring it back to the stars. Leo is fire-fixed, ruled by the sun, the only celestial body that generates its own light. Unlike the moon reflective or Mercury transmissive, the sun creates its field. It radiates. It burns without external permission. Leo, your aura mirrors this solar nature. It doesn't just react to the world, it changes it. And in the realm of electronics, where delicate signals are king, your energy field becomes a disruptive source of raw power, not out of intention, simply by existing. The downside and why it hurts. This isn't glamorous. It's not fun when your phone dies before a call, or when your work disappears because your laptop freezes during a surge of inspiration, or when someone else's device malfunctions and they blame you like your very energy is a curse. And after a while, you might begin to dim yourself. Hold your emotions back. Stay cool even when something inside you wants to explode. But Leo, suppressing fire doesn't make it safer. It makes it unstable. You don't need to turn your fire off. You just need to learn how to channel it. Life lesson from sign 5. Your aura is strong enough to touch machines. That's not a weakness. It's a sign of power. But power requires discipline, not suppression awareness. When you feel your energy spike, breathe before you speak. Ground before you act. Recognize that what you emit affects more than people. It interacts with physical reality. Leo, this is your reminder. You weren't built to be compatible with fragile systems. You were born to ignite transformation, even if it fries a few circuits along the way. Comment if you've ever made a device crash or flicker, especially when your emotions were running high. Now that we've explored how your aura affects the physical world, let's move into a realm even deeper, the world of dreams. Because if your aura is this powerful while you're awake, what do you think it's doing while you sleep? In the next sign, we'll uncover how your dreams might not be just dreams, but prophecies. Sign 6. You have prophetic dreams that manifest in reality. Leo, be honest. Have you ever dreamed something not symbolically, not vaguely, but exactly as it would later happen? The same room, the same words, the same moment playing out in your sleep long before it ever reached your waking life. And when it finally happens in real time, you're left stunned, speechless, thinking, I've been here before. It's not déjà vu. It's not imagination. It's prophetic dreaming. And if you're truly in touch with your Leo aura, it's been happening to you more often than you've told anyone. Because your dreams aren't just dreams, they're timelines being previewed. What makes it so different? While most people dream to process stress or relive memory, you dream to retrieve information. You don't always ask for it, you don't always want it, but still, the visions come. You see faces you've never met until you do. You hear conversations before they're ever spoken. You experience situations months, sometimes years before they unfold. And when the moment arrives, you recognize it completely. Not just the visuals, but the feeling. The sense that you've already lived it because in truth you have. How your aura travels in sleep. Leo, your waking energy is dominant, radiant, electric. But your sleeping aura is something else entirely. At night, when the conscious mind surrenders control, your field expands into non-linear time. You become a receiver, like a solar panel absorbing cosmic data. And what do you bring back from those excursions? Fragments, impressions, clarity, warning, preparation. That's why you've avoided certain people after a dream. That's why you've pursued specific jobs, said no without reason, or felt unexplainable dread hours before something bad happened. Because you knew. And the dream told you. A real story you might relate to. A Leo woman once shared this with me. I dreamt of a baby boy. I could see his face, every detail. His laugh, his eyes, even the way he kicked his legs when happy. But I wasn't pregnant. I wasn't even dating anyone at the time. 3 years later, married unexpectedly, she gave birth to the child she had already met in her dreams. He looked exactly the same. Same face, same laugh, same soul. She said, "The day he was born, I didn't feel like a new mom. I felt like I was welcoming someone home." Leo, your aura doesn't just touch the future. It remembers it before it happens. Prophetic dreams are not just gifts. Many spiritual traditions romanticize this ability. But let's be honest, it's not always easy. Because sometimes you dream of pain before it arrives. Sometimes you see truths you're not ready to face. Sometimes you carry the weight of knowing while everyone else sleeps through it. It can make you feel isolated, misunderstood, even a little cursed. But Leo, your prophetic dreams are not a curse. They are a compass, a tool for navigation in a chaotic world. They're not here to make you special. They're here to keep you aligned with your true path. Why Leo dreams are different. Let's bring this back to astrology for a moment. Most people associate dreams with Pisces or the moon, but Leo's power in the dream world is the fire of foresight. You dream not from emotional absorption, but from energetic projection. Your aura doesn't just visit other timelines, it tests them. It plays out scenarios so your waking self can choose with clarity. It gives you access to potential futures and allows you to course correct in advance. That's why even when everyone thinks you're just guessing, you're usually right. Not because of logic, but because you've already seen it. Life lesson from sign 6. Don't dismiss your dreams. Don't downplay your visions. Don't assume you're just being dramatic. Your subconscious is more awake than most people's conscious minds. And your dreams, they aren't just scenes. They're signals from the universe, from your soul, from the future itself. Honor them, record them, follow them, because the more you do, the clearer the messages become. And eventually you'll stop saying, "That was weird," and start saying, "I was warned, I was guided, I was prepared." Comment if you've ever had a dream that came true exactly as it happened. And now Leo. We've explored how your aura reflects others, stirs children, breaks machines, and reads the future. But there's one sign that's even more powerful and more painful, because it isn't about what you do, it's about what you feel. A longing, a homesickness, for a place that doesn't exist here. In our final sign, we'll uncover why your aura still aches. For a home you've never seen, but never stopped remembering. Sign 7. You feel a deep nostalgia for a home that doesn't exist in this world. There's a longing in you, Leo. It doesn't show up in loud ways. It comes quietly, in still moments, in silence, in those late hours when the world feels a little too empty. You felt it for as long as you can remember. This deep, aching nostalgia, not for a place you once lived, but for a place you've never been. Not a memory from childhood, not a city or country you've visited. Something otherworldly, a home that lives only in your bones, in your dreams, in that heavy space behind your heart that pulses with the words, "I don't belong here." You've carried it alone. You've tried to describe it, haven't you? But the words never quite fit. Because how do you explain missing something that doesn't technically exist? How do you justify a grief for a place you can't locate? So instead you say things like, "I've always felt out of place. I'm never fully comfortable no matter where I go. It's like I'm visiting Earth, but I'm not from here." People might laugh, say you're too dreamy. But you know this feeling isn't a fantasy. It's a signal, a hum beneath your skin, reminding you that some part of you is still reaching for the stars. Why you feel this way? Because Leo, you are not just fire. You are starlight condensed into human form. Your aura is wired not for comfort, but for cosmic memory. It remembers things your mind can't explain. Temples of light that never crumbled. Voices that spoke without sound. A sky that wasn't blue but golden. A world where your intensity was not too much, but perfectly natural. This is why no earthly home ever feels quite complete. Why you often feel torn, grounded, and yet floating, visible yet unseen. Because this planet is not your origin story, it's your mission field. Astrological insight. Let's go back to the symbolism of Leo. As the sign ruled by the sun, Leo represents core identity, not just ego, but soul source. And sometimes that source doesn't root in Earth's soil. It radiates from elsewhere, a dimension, a realm, an energy field beyond the physical. You're not here by accident. You're not lost. You're a messenger. And that ache, that aching for a place you can't describe, it's not to be solved. It's to be understood. Because the homesickness you carry isn't meant to weaken you. It's meant to remind you who you are. The truth beneath the ache, what you miss, is not a house, not a country, not a childhood bedroom. What you miss is a frequency, a way of being. A world where your energy was the norm, not the exception. Where people didn't ask you to dim your fire. Where your aura didn't trigger fear or confusion. Where intensity was embraced, not misunderstood. And maybe that place doesn't exist on this planet, not yet. But maybe, just maybe, you're here to help rebuild it. A moment of reflection. Have you ever stood beneath the stars and felt them staring back? Have you ever heard a song or seen an image that triggered tears, but you didn't know why? Have you ever walked into a space and felt like you were remembering something, not discovering it? That's not imagination. That's resonance. Your aura is tuned to something bigger, something older than this lifetime, and that's why you ache. Not because you're broken, but because you remember wholeness. Life lesson from Sign 7. You may never find a place on this earth that feels like home in the way your soul remembers. But that doesn't mean you're lost. It means you are the homecoming. Leo, your presence is the anchor. You are here to bring that feeling, the one you miss, into this world. Through your art, through your love, through the way you live boldly, even when you feel deeply alone. You're not meant to find a perfect place. You're meant to create moments that feel like that place for others. And maybe in doing so, you'll finally feel it for yourself. Not out there, but here, now, inside you. Because perhaps home was never a place. Perhaps it was always a frequency you were born to restore. Comment if you've ever felt a deep longing for a home that you couldn't find in this world. And now, Leo, you've seen the signs. You've felt the truth. You've remembered what you've been carrying all along. But this final part isn't about another sign. It's about why you carry them. And what you're supposed to do with this strange, powerful cosmic aura you were born with. In the conclusion, we'll return to the center, to the truth behind your energy, and the purpose that brought your soul here in the first place. Conclusion. You were never meant to blend in. Leo, now that you've heard the signs, now that you've remembered what your soul has always whispered, you know the truth, don't you? Your aura was never meant to fit in. It was meant to awaken. It was never supposed to be quiet. It was never supposed to make people feel comfortable. It was born to disrupt, to reflect, to reveal, to stir the stagnant energy of a world that's forgotten who it is. You've spent years trying to be normal, haven't you? Trying to soften your edges, dim your light tone down your voice. But look where that's gotten you tired, frustrated, lonely, and still not understood. So now, Leo, it's time to stop apologizing for your fire. You carry the frequency of transformation. Your aura is not strange. It's strong. It's alive. It's coated with memory, with power, with divine purpose. People feel you before you speak. They remember you long after you leave. You make them nervous or inspired because you mirror back what they're afraid to face. You didn't come here to blend. You came here to burn, to illuminate the shadows, to trigger awakening not through force, but through presence. So when people say, "You're too intense," you can smile and say, "That's because I was never built to be small." This is the true power of the Leo aura. Not charm, not attention, not performance. Truth, impact, frequency, legacy. You carry the energy of the sun not because you want to shine, but because you were forged from fire. You are not strange, you are sovereign. And the moment you stop asking for permission, the moment you stop hiding the depth of your knowing, the world around you begins to shift, because your authenticity unlocks theirs, the responsibility that comes with it. This is where most turn back, because being seen means being held accountable. And you know that your aura doesn't just amplify love. It amplifies everything. That's why your actions matter. Your intentions matter. Your energy is like a beacon, and others will tune to your frequency whether they mean to or not. So use it with integrity. Speak with clarity. Love with intensity. And don't be afraid to walk alone, because the road you walk was never meant to be crowded. You're not the only one. Though your path feels solitary, you are not alone. There are others like you scattered across the planet, each one holding a piece of the same frequency, each one remembering in their own way, each one being called to stop pretending they're ordinary. And when you find them, when your aura collides with another like it, the world shifts. Because 2 or more awakened Leos don't just light a room, they reset the frequency of an entire space. And one day, when enough of you remember who you are, this planet will feel a little less heavy. Final life lesson. Leo, you're not broken. You're not too much. You're not lost. You are designed for something higher. You are encoded with cosmic intelligence. You are living proof that a single human aura, when fully awakened, can remind others of their divinity. So go forward now, not arrogantly, but with quiet, anchored knowing. You didn't come to play small. You came to reignite the sacred, and the world is waiting for you to stop hiding. Comment if this awakened something in you, or if you've been waiting your whole life to hear someone finally say this out loud. If this resonated with you, subscribe to the Royal Flame of Leo, because we don't do fluff and we don't do surface. We're here to remember, to reignite, and to restore the truth about who you are, not from ego, but from essence. And if you know a Leo who's been dimming their light, send this to them, because somewhere out there, another powerful soul is still wondering why they feel so strange. And maybe today they'll realize they're not strange at all. They're finally starting to remember.